And then later on, my interest in this was rekindled by A Course in Miracles, which says explicitly in one of its lessons that when you begin to have true vision, achieve true vision, you will know this, that you're achieving it, because you will begin to see little halos or rims of light around everything. It says this quite directly, just like that. And I was like, that sounds just like, sort of like what Redfield was talking about. And so, I was a young man at this time, and so I went about staring at everything to see if I could see light around it, and try to switch my perception to see if I could see what they were talking about here. And I have to say, I can only laugh hysterically looking back at my ridiculous, childish efforts here, having no clue about what they really meant by this. So eventually I just gave up because there was no clear instructions. But I continued my spiritual practice, and it wasn't until years and years later that I had my first really clear encounter with what I later began to call radiance. And this remarkable experience occurred during a open-eyed meditation class that I took at a Dharma center in Portland, Oregon. And so I was attending this class as a student, not as a teacher. It was the first time I've ever experimented with open-eyed meditation. So I'm sitting there and meditating with my eyes partially open. You just leave them like a third or a half of the way open and just let them rest, on some random spot ahead of you. And I'm practicing like this. And at some point, I have this really peculiar perception. And that was that the people around me and the things around me, the objects around me, all appeared suddenly to be fake. Very hard for me to describe this, but it was almost like they looked like objects made of plaster or something, like stage props. This included the people, it included all the objects around me, and I thought this was very, very odd indeed. But I just continued with my meditation, and I was quite an intense meditation. And gradually I began to see halos surrounding all the people and the objects. And this became, over some minutes, quite intense until it was a radiance that I was perceiving. And it grew to the point where even the air all around me was luminescent. It's the best way I can describe it. And I realized in this moment, as it intensified and it was like this golden light and it filled up the whole room, so everything was existing in it and as it. It was an incredible mystical experience that I experienced here, where I finally understood what was meant by Redfield, I believe, and by A Course in Miracles both. This was the start for me of true vision.